Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead Aherne. Today's top stories. People who've planned summer holidays abroad are being urged to cancel their bookings despite the return of international travel this week. Parents in Tramore say they're devastated to hear that an indoor play centre in the town will not be reopening. A rural traffic calming scheme's to be constructed at a collision black spot on the main Waterford to Cork Road. And in sport, the SSE Electricity League will resume from July 31st with 2 rounds of matches in total. The government is continuing to put together a list of countries the public can travel to without having to quarantine upon return. That's despite public health officials urging people who've booked holidays abroad to cancel them. Casey O'Riordan reports.
The Chief Medical Officer has expressed concern at the increase in the number of cases and clusters of COVID-19. 24 new cases were confirmed yesterday, the highest daily increase in over 2 weeks. 6 of those cases were associated with foreign travel. The total number of imported cases has risen by 23 to 383 over the course of the last month, with over half of those cases happening in the last week alone. Dr Tony Holohan urged people with holidays abroad booked to cancel them, and Margaret Harris of the World Health Organization has echoed that call.
Do you really need to travel? People do need to take a rest, but think about taking a safe rest.
These people who have booked trips abroad were asked if they will now cancel their plans.
I might have to completely, and I totally understand, like my parents are not, young.
We're still going to go ahead with it. For people who have booked any flights previous to the COVID, we just kind of have to bite the bullet and take a chance.
Which countries will feature on the green list was discussed at Cabinet yesterday. However, difficulties have arisen with certain countries whose handle on the virus has changed rapidly in a short period of time.
A Waterford travel agent says for the most part people are very responsible. Sean Power from Harvey Travel spoke to Maria McCann on Daisha today.
Most of the people that we've been speaking to have all kicked their holiday down the line. They've been asking us to change from this year to next year. That seems to be the general mood at the moment. I think that people generally are taking advice. All we can do is tell them about the facts, what's operating, what's not operating. If they don't go, what their situation will be. And then they have to make up their own minds. But I must say that people have been very responsible.
1 new case of COVID-19 has been confirmed in Waterford. The latest figures from the Health Protection and Surveillance Centre show a total of 157 cases in Waterford since the outbreak began. Those figures are correct up to midnight on Saturday. There's 2 confirmed cases of coronavirus at University Hospital Waterford. That's according to the HSE's daily operations update. As of 8 o'clock last night, 1 suspected case at the hospital was awaiting the results of COVID testing. A County Waterford indoor play centre will not be reopening. Run Amok has been operating in Tramore since December 2005. The owners of the 10,000 square foot purpose-built children's activity centre posted on Facebook last night to say it's been a difficult and sad decision to make. They say they cannot see how they could continue to operate a sustainable and viable business with the implications and restrictions of COVID-19. These people in Tramore gave their reaction to WLR News.
Devastated, when I heard yesterday that Run Amok was closing. The kids would have had all their birthdays there, and to meet up with friends. And it's just what I think it opened back in 2005, just to be open for that long and then having to close with all of this going on.
It is a pity, and it's sad all around for the family that do run it and for the people that are employed there and that are going to be affected by this, unfortunately, and their families. So we're thinking of them all. Best of luck with your next venture. Please God, there will be one.
A Waterford publican says their first day reopening went without a hitch. Restaurants and pubs serving food welcome back customers for the first time since March as part of phase 3 of the easing restrictions. However, people need to have a substantial meal costing at least €9 if they want to have a pint. Jim Flash Gordon from Oscar's Bar on the Dunmore Road says there was no issue with the 105-minute time limit.
Most people came in, had food, had a drink or two and left. We didn't have to go to anyone yesterday and say to them, listen, your required time is up. I can't see a problem with that. We'll see what the weekend brings. Obviously, the weekend is going to be a bit busier. People will be off work Saturday and Sunday. But with Oscars, we have 87 tables between upstairs, downstairs and outside. So 39 of those are now functional. So that gives us great capacity.
The owner of a chipper in Tramore believes banning cars from the lower prom will harm his business. More than 800 people have signed a petition to pedestrianise the area between Moe's Cafe and the public toilets. Tramore Eco Group, who are behind the petition, believe it should be a paved public walkway and not a one-way road with car parking space for more than 50 cars and camper vans. However, Billy McCarthy from McCarthy's Chipper on the lower prom disagrees.
To be honest, I have to be totally upfront. I'm totally against it there. You're looking out a window at the moment and you see 5 miles of a lovely beach, an empty promenade with plenty places for people to walk up and down, kids to run up and down. I can't see why they need to close the road for people to walk up and down the middle of the road.
He says his family business is there 60 years.
And I can say, thank God, in them 60 years, I've never seen anyone even knocked down on that road. Traffic is so slow on that road because there's not a lot of room there, as is. And there's not a lot of parking there as is anymore. Parking has a huge impact on my business. Being a takeaway, being people wanting to drive down or a ring-in order, pull up, grab their stuff, stay whatever length of time it takes to get served, 10 minutes, and they're gone. So there's kind of cars coming and going. Closure on that road would have a huge impact on my business.
Clara McGrath, manager of Moe's Cafe on the prom, says they're in favour of the proposal. She says any issues of parking have been addressed.
Give more room for people to have more room to socialise and do a bit of social distancing as well, and we can put out some more extra tables, get more people into the building. So I do know in the summer we do struggle. People were wondering about disabled parking and things like that, but when the council initially came to us, there was things put forward for that they were going to make sure that they had enough disabled parking and there are car parks around as well, so there should be enough space for everyone.
A rural traffic calming scheme is to be constructed at a collision black spot on the main Waterford to Cork Road. People living near Carroll's Cross have been calling for the layout to be changed for years. Traffic volumes on the N25 are also expected to continue to increase. Senior engineer with Waterford Council, Gabriel Hines, says the long-term plan is for a dual carriageway.
We identify locations on that road from Carroll's Cross, certainly to back to Kilmeaden Road roundabout onto Dungarvan, where that road can be upgraded, incorporating grade separated junctions and a kind of a dual carriageway approach. Now, that is a significant infrastructural project, but it certainly needs to be put on the national agenda. Long term, I think, for Waterford City to grow and for our linkages with Cork economically, as well as from a safety point of view, that needs to be progressed.
22.5% of people were unemployed this month, the Central Statistics Office says is down from 26.1% in May. These figures include those on the pandemic unemployment payment. Waterford-born economist Jim Power says it'll take years for many people to return to work.
In February of this year, we were looking at an employment rate of around 4.8%. What we now require is 2 or 3 years of solid economic growth to get the unemployment rate back into those sorts of levels again.
Waterford Institute of Technology will host a virtual open day for adult learners tomorrow. It's expected that more people will return to education in the post-COVID world. Neil Quinlan's the head of Department of Lifelong Learning at WIT. He says there's courses in several areas and Springboard Plus.
WIT this year under Springboard will have courses in business and financial services, computing and data analytics, biopharma and biomedical engineering, and also culinary. If you want to find out more about Springboard at WIT this year, come to our virtual open day on the 1st of July and find out more at wit.ie/springboard.
Sports news on WLR.
With Virgin Media Waterford. Want super fast broadband today? Drop into Virgin Media George's Street and take it home with you. Easy as that.
Starting with soccer, and the National League Executive Committee has ruled that the SSE Artricity League will resume from July 31st with 2 rounds of matches in total. It'll include games played to date and promotions and relegation as scheduled at the start of the 2020 season. The decision has been sent to the board of the FAI for ratification. Manchester United are aiming to achieve a Premier League first tonight by winning their first away match against Brighton. 2 seasons ago they lost 1-0 at the Amex Stadium before a 3-2 defeat last season, both results coming under former manager Jose Mourinho. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's in charge now and his side are unbeaten in 14 games in all competitions. Brighton boss Graham Potter isn't getting carried away by his side's impressive record against tonight's visitors.
History's fine, but it doesn't necessarily do too much for the present. We can't just turn around and say, hey, Manchester United, you haven't won here, so therefore we can take 3 points, thank you very much. funny if it was that simple. They're a top team.
That game kicks off at 8:15. United striker Alexis Sanchez and Chelsea's Victor Moses will stay at Inter Milan for the remainder of the Serie A season, according to the BBC. The Italian top-flight club secured their services after negotiations with the two Premier League clubs, as the loan deals for the players were due to expire today. In Gaelic games, Michael Dignan says the GAA need to have a stronger stance against inter-county teams who train before they're supposed to. Inter-county sides are not supposed to be in training until September 14th, ahead of a later championship start. Offaly County Chairman Dignan has said sanctions should include teams being thrown out of the competition. While the revised draws for the 2020 Munster Minor Championships were made last night, Waterford's minor hurlers will play the winners of Kerry and Tipperary in the first semi-final. The other semi-final sees Limerick face the winners of Cork and Clare. In the football, Waterford face Limerick in the quarter-finals. Dates and venues still have to be confirmed. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford. WLR asks you to stay safe by keeping your distance. Our next bulletin is at 2.